a lot of young aspirants today are in the dilemma to whether start their practice immediately or after their course or work for a while. And if so, then how long do you suggest that one should go about it?
So as per me and my experience, I would say that, academics and professional working are two separate verticals.
Okay.
And when you're in school, you're in college, when you pass out, you feel you know everything, but as per me, you don't know anything at all. I can just share my experience when I passed out, and I passed out with flying colors, first class and everything, and I thought I knew everything. And my first day in the office, I was just given a sketch and asked to draft something. And that was the moment when I thought I didn't know anything. I didn't know where to start from, how to start. And it was until a co-worker came in and he told me, and I asked him, he was my senior, I asked him how, boss has given me this and how do I start? And that was the point. He showed me, he handheld me, and he gave me the tips, how you should start a plan, how you should actually start doing something which was commercially going to be built, and it's going to be, somebody's going to live in there.
Right.
It's not like college that, it's a fantasy, you do something and it's never going to be built. And whether it's possible to build it or not, you're not aware of that. So education and your actual working are two different verticals. They're two separate things. Don't think after getting out, you know everything, you don't know anything. You've got to start with a fresh slate.
Right.
And I would say you got to work with a company at least for 2 to 3 years to 5 years before you start thinking of doing a building. Because in the initial days when I started, there were only 7-storied buildings, 10-storied buildings. So we used to finish a 10-storied building in 2 years or 2.5 years, or maximum 3 years. But today, the buildings are very complex. They are not individual standalone buildings. In many cases, they are mixed use. Mm-hmm. They are couple of users, which are there in it. They may be in the same complex, or they may be stacked one on top of the other.
Right.
So these normally take at least 5 years to complete. And I would say you should go through the entire cycle, right from design to completion and to handing over, to understand the whole process.
Right.
Learn the process so that you don't make a mistake when you actually start working. Because it's not only making a drawing, you're going to play with a lot of lives.
Right.
You have to keep the end user in mind, and you have to make it viable. You're playing with a lot of people's lives. You're playing with a lot of people's savings. Mm-hmm. You're playing with a lot of people's money.
Right.
For you, it may be nothing, but for the end user, that house will be his life savings. So it's a lot of responsibility that you are supposed to carry on.
Right. So now, since you said that one should spend at least 2.5 years in a space before starting.
Minimum.
So any key aspects in whether
and
it's
today's time, I'm saying it has to be 5 years, because you have to go through, because there are no more simple standalone buildings that you're going to be doing. You're going to be doing some complex buildings.
Right.
And that takes you at least 5 years till you complete one.
So would you suggest any specific aspects that one should be looking for in that 5-year period during the life cycle?
No, I think you should look at the entire thing, right from the design stage, when you start putting your pencil down on the first day, to the handing over of the building.
Okay.
That exercise, that cycle has to be completed for you to know how entire process works, how each step has to go.
Right.
It's for your own good, because it should not be that tomorrow you're not aware of something and then you have a sad face in front of a client.
Right.
or as I said, is the life saving of the end user.
Right.
So you're playing with a lot of lives.
When I look at you and your business scale today, uh, it truly inspires me as a budding entrepreneur for sure. So I believe you started somewhere in 1988. Uh, so could you tell us a little about how did it really begin? What was the thought process behind it?
So I worked for about 2.5 years, almost 3 years. And then I took a decision. I wanted to start on my own. And when I thought of that, I did not think of a lot of things. I committed a lot of mistakes because I didn't have an office space. I didn't have a client. I didn't have so many things.
Right.
But I just started without thinking. So somebody asked me, do you know to start you need a client? I said yes. So he said, where are you going to get the client? I said, I don't know. So in those times it was different. You could do it, and I was lucky. I was one of the lucky ones who got projects. Of course, we started with small projects. We started with ground plus one, ground plus two,
Right.
in far-flung areas like Badlapur and Kalyan and Ulasnagar and all there. That at that time there were only buildings of ground plus two going on over there. There was nothing more than that.
What
There
kind
were
of
no
projects?
elevators, nothing in those buildings. Very small size, but I had already started.
Right.
So there was no looking back. So I started with everything. If anybody wanted to remodel a toilet, I did it.
Right.
If somebody wanted to do something in the kitchen or just one wardrobe space, I did it because I was forced to it. And basically, I'm a fighter. So I can't give up. So I did it, and I started moving step by step, baby steps, till I started establishing myself. Today, I don't think it's that easy because there's a lot of competition. And getting a project today, because the scale of projects is large, nobody wants to give you a large scale project. They do not want to risk that much of funds
Right.
if you are not confident enough, if you're not experienced enough. So getting a project of that magnitude or that scale would be a big challenge.
So as you said that till one establishes, I mean till you took a time, a point where you establish yourself. Can you give a little context to what you really mean when you say till you're established?
So there again, so till you finish a building. So when a building is finished or you've performed maybe even halfway and the client is really happy with you. In my case, that was the case when the client actually looked at it halfway and he saw that my, my involvement, my, the zest, my push, my
Dedication.
fire, my dedication that was there. So the clients came up luckily with another project, and he was so confident that I could do it, and he gave me the second project. When a client gives you a repeat project, that is a day when I think you feel that you've arrived.
Right.
You've performed, you've achieved something. Money is important. Money is, it is needed, but a repeat client is very important.
Right.
And that's the best earning I think any entrepreneur can get.
Right.
So that's, yeah.
When did that happen for you? So let's say you started in 1988.
So when I started in 1988, I started doing all these small projects, and to my luck or my destiny, I got one project which was the same client who we were working for in Badlapur. He had a property in Thane. He just took over something, and he gave me the project in Thane. That was almost about 6 months time. So I was one of the lucky ones. It's not easy. When I got the project in Thane, immediately after that, a friend of mine introduced me to a client, and he was doing a hotel. And the architect that was there, he was not, up to the mark. He was not performing. So he said, why don't you come in and you finish the property?
Right.
So I did that. Halfway down the line, they bought another property, and there was already an architect on the project. So the client said, I have this previous architect, I've been working with him. If you can give me a design which is better than him, then I shall consider you.
Right.
And I shall only pay you 25,000 for a full-fledged tower of 18-story.
Which would have taken 2 years to
2.5, 3 years.
Wow.
He said, I'll pay you only 25,000. I said, done. I was looking at it from the, long perspective. I was looking at it from long-term perspective. I was not thinking of the 25,000. I was looking at investing in that tower,
right,
which would give me more projects.
Right.
So we did the presentation. The client liked it. He says, I'll pay you only 25,000. I said, it's agreed, no problem. They went ahead and they launched the tower. They were looking at a price of 1,700 square feet. They launched the tower on the day of the launch. By the end of the day, they went up to 7,000 rupees a square feet.
Wow, that's a steep.
So that was a steep thing. And the client was so happy. He called me on Monday. This launch was on a Sunday. He called me on Monday and he says, I want to meet you.
Right.
I just went over to him. So he says, what would be your fees if I had to if you had to do a tower? What would be your full fees? So I don't remember. I told him X amount. And he says, okay, I'll pay you for this tower the full amount.
Oh, wow. So he did actually compensate for the...
He did compensate because he was really excited. He was, he never expected to get that price.
Right.
And when we, launched it with the model and everything, and I was a new client, I was a new architect. Nobody knew me. So he was a little scared. But just because the price that he got, he called me and he said, I give you this fees. And after that, there was no looking back.
Right.
I started getting projects after project because till today, I have the cutting of the newspaper, where they put the name of mine and they put the image of the building. So it was a big thing for me, and I've preserved it and I've kept it in my drawer. It's there.
Right.
And at times I just look out, I open it and see, and I remember those days,
Right.
when the project was launched.
Around what year would this have been?
This was about 1988 I started. It was almost about January or February of 1990. So
Wow.
that was a very short span that I took off. And I was lucky.
This is rare, right? I think
Yes,
within
it
2
is very
years,
rare. It is very rare.
getting the scale of... What happened after that? What was the next milestone?
So after that, I started getting a lot of projects. I started expanding my team.
Right.
Initially, I was just myself with 2 draftsmen and an operator. In the initial times, I did myself a lot of typing, printing, ammonia printing in those days, and we used to do all hand drafting.
Right.
It was not on the computer.
Long hours.
Long hours. We used to do a drawing and then show it to a client, and the client used to come and he used to say, no, I don't like it. And then we had to go back to the drawing board and we used to say, okay, we'll show you next week. So we had to work the entire thing, for the week, burn the night oil, and then, show it to him the next week. And then he said, oh, I don't like it. And then you have to go back. But
Right.
Today's day is different with the computers and everything coming. It's much faster.
Yeah.
You can make the changes right there with the client sitting in front of you, and you can get the plans approved. So it was a different story at that time. Then it was just one fine day, a friend of mine, he was a hotel consultant, he called me, says, would you like to do a project in Dubai?
Wow.
I said, of course.
So till then you were doing in India?
Yeah, I
Mumbai.
was doing in India, Mumbai. primarily Mumbai, and
Okay.
we just got a few projects in Pune.
Right.
So then I said, okay, let's do that. He said he's going to pay only 5 lakhs for a hotel of 80 rooms and 4 restaurants and everything. I said, no problem. I take it.
It's in Dubai.
This is Dubai. So it was more than the money part of it. It was
Right.
the name and, getting on the, portfolio overseas project.
Right.
So we took that, and we halfway down the line, we started getting more projects there. People started seeing our performance. So every Friday, 7 o'clock, I used to take the Emirates flight, go to Dubai, because Saturday, Sunday we were closed. So I used to fly into Dubai on a Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, Monday evening I used to get back. I did that for almost 3 to 4 years. And then I thought, let me just put in an office there.
Right.
So we put in an office there as well. And we started doing projects there. But I would say that was a wrong move, because initially people used to fly us down, they used to put us up in the hotel, they used to pay us for the ticket, and we used to do the projects and come back. Once I
Right.
started the office, they said, oh, you're a local guy. And all the local taxes got applicable, everything got applicable for us, and it wasn't a good idea. So then after some time we saw it's not working out. So we shut the office, but we still continued, and we still continue. We're doing some projects even today in Dubai and the Gulf.
Right. So this was, so probably Dubai would have been in around what year?
It was 91, 92.
Oh, that's soon.
Yeah.
Okay.
So after that, the next turning point was I was in Dubai, and a client again of Dubai, he told me, I'm getting a project in Mauritius. So would you be interested? I said, what else do I want?
Right.
So we took up the project. It was a 1 kilometer long beachfront property.
Right.
And we did the property. It was a Lee Meridian, and it was 205 rooms. We completed that, and then no looking back in life.
Right. So at least the same mistake as Dubai didn't repeat there.
Yeah, so we didn't do, of course, when we went over there and we started doing the project, so we got a local partner, because
Right.
you had to take a local partner and do the project. So
Right.
we did a local partner, but we didn't do an office. And after that, I've done a couple of other offices, but I would not suggest anybody to do different offices. You do different offices, it could be like a satellite office where the main design office is one.
Okay.
And you churn out all the main basic concept and the design, because I'm involved, or any architect is involved in each project.
Right.
And when you are involved in all the projects and the initial concept stage, you have to be in one place. You can't be moving around. Yes, you can do projects all over, but your
Base has to be.
base has to be one.
So how is it spanned today? So your base is
So
in
then,
Mumbai.
yeah, bases in Mumbai. We did an office in Pune again, because we had a lot of projects over there, and but that was a satellite office. So we send all our drawings from here, and we're still doing projects in Dubai, in Pune, but we have team members. They're working from home. We shut down during the COVID because of the reasons. Everybody knows. So we operate out of Mumbai, and we are doing all our projects in Pune, or even further than Pune. We used to do from Pune, but now we just keep on doing the design from here, and that's a satellite office.
And
So US, what happened is, again, destiny plays a very important role in my life. Yes, it has played a very important role, and I think it plays an important role in everybody's life. Myself, we got the green card in the year 2010.
wow. Okay.
And the whole family, we decided, because my in-laws, they're based in San Francisco, California. And so I moved along with the family there. And that move was, for me, it was not a move. I was always I didn't know what the repercussion of green card was till I landed there and I got to know that I'm a legal immigrant and I have to move and stay there to get my legal citizenship.
Right.
And I had to spend 5 years to actually get my citizenship. So when I started going there, we bought a house, we did everything. And I used to go there and sit at home doing nothing, which was not my genes. It's not in my genes to just sit at home. So I started thinking, and I met some people, and we bought over an office. It was a company, and we bought over the company. We invested in the company, and we started our own firm by the name of ARK Studio.
Right.
And we started doing work. Luckily, again, we got a lot of projects from our clients who were in India. The brother was there, the uncle was there, somebody was there.
Right.
And we started getting the projects. And we did fairly well, and we are still doing well. So we do a lot of work in the US. We do the concepts there, and we do a lot of back-end work in India.
Okay.
So all the good for construction drawings and everything is being done out here.
Okay.
And so we've been lucky again there.
So while you were there, was the Mumbai office still functional at that time?
I used to keep on going up and down.
Okay.
I never stayed in one place. I kept on. So I used to, even now before the pandemic, 3 weeks in the US, 3 weeks out here.
Right.
And when I'm in US, I'm on Zoom entire night. When I'm in India, I'm there on the Zoom. And I've been functioning that way. So it's 24/7 for me.
It's a lifestyle choice.
Yeah.
On one hand, you had an experience with Dubai and Mauritius, and a very different experience with US.
Yeah, and we did, of course, a lot of work in Nairobi as well.
Okay.
But we did everything out of India. And it was like one project followed the other project. So
right.
That's the best thing,
So how would you really differentiate? Because you've successfully done it with US now, and you are traveling.
I think it's the time zone that is, very good, because when you end work over here, you start work over there. And a lot of people say, oh, you're working 24/7, but then I feel that's the best thing that is there. You can work both sides.
So that's worked out in your favor.
Yeah.
Okay. But would you say it's also a lot to do with your as a business maturity also over the period? Like maybe you might have started with the Dubai office way earlier stage as compared to...
It could be. Yeah, like, we didn't think a lot of things in Dubai. We just got into it without thinking. Now that, we spent so many years, so we've understood business, we've understood the
market,
way things work, how we should get into a particular market, how we should study the market first before getting in, and just, so that is very important.
Right.
You have to understand a lot of things before you actually do something in any location.
That would be a suggestion to any youngster looking at.
Yes.
I think I can comfortably call you a veteran in the architecture industry, being in this space for over 3 decades now. So I guess you must have seen a ton of changes in this period. So would you be able to share some, experiences, or how is it been?
I would say, our generation has seen the maximum change in life.
Right.
Like we came from the drawing board to the computers. We came from the drawing board to first we just had a simple AutoCAD 2D. Mm-hmm. Then we started moving to 3D. We started moving to now it's you walk through, you live through, you fly through your projects even before you actually hit ground. So times have changed, and it is really for the better. And actually the projects have become more complex.
Right.
They're not simple buildings anymore. In the initial days when I started, we used to be everything. We used to give electrical drawings, we used to give plumbing drawings, drainage drawings. We used to decide on the elevators. Today, it's something different.
Right.
Because it's just not a vertical stack of drainage which comes down. It may be, transferring onto different levels. The water supply again, air conditioning again. There was no air conditioning on those days. The elevators were just the simple cage elevators which used to just move it up and down. Today is the speed of the elevator, the rescue device, so many other controls and everything that is there. So it's becoming all complicated. From your phone, you can just call for the elevator and all that.
Right.
So you are like initial when we were kids, we used to go to a doctor. He was everything. He used to give us medicine for whatever was there.
Right.
He used to be there. This thing. Today, you just go to a doctor and he'll say, "Oh, you need to do this test, this test, this test, this test." So everything is getting specialized and everything is getting very intricate.
Right.
So everything changed. Like we didn't have getting a simple phone, a desktop phone used to take 5 years, 7 years, sometimes 10 years.
Yeah.
Then we came to the pagers, then we came to the fax machine, which is obsolete today.
Right.
And then the mobiles.
Yeah.
And mobiles have done so much. Now we're doing so much on a mobile than, actually doing on a desktop. So many times
Right.
you don't carry a desktop or a laptop you're using. I use this fold for a lot of things.
Right.
So technology has changed, and with that, life has changed totally.
A lot of measurements of the space is also taken with just the mobile phone.
Absolutely. I think mobile, as they say, you may forget your wife, but you can't forget your mobile.
Right.
So
Right.
this is something which is, your banking is done here, everything is done here. So life has changed totally.
And with respect to specifically architectural space, would you say speed and technology has been the major essence of the progression so far?
Yes, and yeah, see, like we can work on Revit, that is a 3D
Right. Software.
software. BIM is there, you can take out quantities, you can even route your pipes to go through. So you have a different layer for pipes, you have a different layer for air conditioning, you have a different layer for drainage.
Right.
And you can check it out where it is, hampering or it is, crossing over with each other.
You can preconceive a lot of things.
Yes. So it's not like before we used to give a drawing and, then the site used to call up, the pipe is coming and the beam is hitting it.
Right.
So all those things have been eliminated. You work better, you work faster, you know the quantities of the pipes. There is nothing as a surprise. You can take out the steel quantity, you can take out the cement quantity. Everything comes in right from the first day. The client gets a costing. He knows what the project cost is going to be at the end of the project. So there are no surprises today.
Right. And would you also say that the execution part has become much easier because of the robust design stage now?
Yes. So execution itself, like we wouldn't do construction more than 7-story or 10-story because there was no equipment. Today we have the concrete pumps. We have the concrete, you can move concrete. You can do it in a premix plant and then you bring the concrete and you pump it right up to the top. Whereas earlier days, it was not that way. And we used to just take the pump and put it where you require it. You needed a gang. There were laborers, they used to come and they were specialized in that. They used to come in the morning, they used to start early morning and they had to finish that slab by the end of the day.
Right.
But today, technology has changed. So we can do slabs, for 7 days. We can do slabs for much faster. Earlier, we used to do a slab for 21 days or maybe a month. So construction has gone up. Yeah, everything has gone up because of the technology.
Right. So I believe every entrepreneur has a business mantra, which has worked very well for him or her. What would you say has been yours, personally speaking, for your business?
I think that one is hard work. The other thing is being accessible to the clients. And the other thing is, I feel an architect has a solution for everything. So you have to look at it from every angle. You can't be looking at it just from your personal angle, that you are a designer and you want the building to be that way. So there are a lot of aspects to it. You
Right.
have to look at the end user, you have to look at the client who's the investor, and you have to look at the workability as well of the project.
Right.
Function, maintenance, all these aspects you have to look at it in. It has to be a holistic approach to the entire thing, without which it becomes difficult for you to do a project. If you start thinking that, there are, with due respects to a lot of people, they say, no, I want it my way or the highway.
Right.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
Because you are not going to be the end user. You are not going to be living in there. So you have to look at all these aspects, and then only you can decide on something and you can close on the project.
Could I call it empathizing with everybody in the space?
Yeah. So
that's when
what,
you can do justice.
Yes, you have to do justice. You have to look at it holistically, and then you can do a project.
Right.
And that, I think, gives success to you. And you have to balance it out. You can't be saying that, this is more important or this is more important. Like a lot of people say the form is more important than a function. No. Form is equally important as a function.
Right.
Because if it's a very good form and it doesn't work, it's of no use. You've got to just look at it as a piece of an art.
Right.
It cannot be used as a, end users can't use it.
Right.
So you have to look at it holistically.
While ARK as we see today is extremely impressive as where it stands, I'm sure it must have had its own set of tough times, which you shared a few before. Would you be able to share the toughest period that ARK as a business would have gone through in this span of 33 years?
So life, or I say basically we are connected with the real estate industry, and real estate industry has a life cycle.
Right.
And every few years, maybe about a 5-year cycle, there is an up and there's a down. So whenever you are in the up, don't be too excited. Always look and see, people start getting too excited. People start shirking away jobs. People start shirking away clients at that moment, not realizing that there can be a downside also, and there will be a downside as well. So you have to balance. Life is all about balancing. That's what my mantra is. When you're down, people will not support you if you behaved badly with them in the good times.
Right.
So you have to behave in both the times, and you got to balance, and never think that a small client is a small client, because that small client can be a big client.
Right.
So I've seen that in my life. Initially, when I started doing ground plus 2 buildings in Badlapur and Ulasnagar. I got towers from those same clients in Thane after just about a year's span. So you cannot be disrespectful to any of the clients. Like it's always said, client Bhagwan hai.
Yeah.
That is very important.
Right. Considering all the life cycles that real estate as an industry would have gone through, is there a period that you resonate very strongly with, that this was a tough period for my business? Anything as such?
Every day is tough. Every day is very tough.
Okay.
Because especially now, this COVID period that we went through was the toughest period.
Okay.
There have been tougher times as well before, but this period was a tough time when there was no income at all.
Right.
And we had to support the team.
Right.
We had to support a lot of things, which, although we did not get money coming in, but we had to do it. We did cut salaries for the staff. Right. That was the first time in my entire career of 34, 35 years that we cut salaries of staff. But they were also very supportive. They understood the whole situation and the time. They understood it was a bad time. They supported also the company. I'm very thankful to them.
Right.
And I see that we are coming out of it, and I hope that this phase doesn't come back ever in anybody's life.
I'm sure life will balance this part out with the better times.
Absolutely.
Very soon.
So whenever there's a, it's a cycle. So whenever there's a down, it will come back faster and better.
Right. Considering being in this business for 34, 35 years, I would call it a fairly mature business, and especially considering you coming from the first generation of the business. So how do you, what would you say would be the next milestone for ARK as a business?
Firstly, I'm looking at my son to be joining me.
Oh, wow.
He should be joining me in another year's time. Apart from that, I have very senior directors with me
Right.
who've been with the company for 20 plus years, 24, 25 years. And they are responsible people, and they help me and the company in taking a lot of decisions. So my perception for the company is that we want to grow in such a way that it's a company. It's not an individual. If X is not there, the
Right.
door's shut.
Right.
So my, vision for the company is that even after me, the company, the name should go ahead, like you see all the companies in the US or UK or,
Right.
They've been for 100 plus years.
Creating a legacy of its own.
Yes. So
Right.
that's the vision that I have for the company, and I'm looking at it being, after me, being continued with my directors, with my son on
Right.
board, and that's the vision that I have.
So does it mean that you look at retiring as well?
I don't think so. It would be, I'll be walked to the grave.
Because you look fit, I don't think that age has taken anything on you. So you do look at being active for a fairly longer
Yes,
period.
I want to.
Okay.
I wish to.
Right. So so as you mentioned that your son is joining you very soon. So could you share a little about him as to what is he doing at the moment?
So he's doing his final year in architecture in San Francisco
Okay.
at the Academy of Arts, and he should be coming in next summer.
Okay.
And so I would not be putting him right on the chair.
Right.
He has to go in and work with the team
Right.
and work with the directors, learn from them, get the experience. I don't want him to make the mistakes that I did. So the only plus point is that he has a platform,
Yeah.
and from the platform, so he can take the company to the next level. Whereas in my case, I started from zero
Right.
and I brought it till here. So he would have a platform to take it to the next level.